afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on folks. It's me all the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bobby Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's Friday. Well, it seemed like it took forever to get here. I know back in the day when I was a younger man, Friday was a highlight. I was off from one of my jobs. I was off. I was off on Friday. So while you fools are at work, I'm at home watching cartoons. So, folks, we got a big show coming up this weekend. It is the Toronto Super Show. It's one of the biggest shows outside the United States. You know, multiple divisions, and especially it's one of the few shows that still have women's bodybuilding on the lineup. Check it out. It's gonna be on Sunday. I'm gonna do a little something that Sunday, and maybe watch it. Most definitely, I'm watching it. I also might do a little something on the side. So, folks, check that out. So, folks, we have a lovely lady. She is from the great West Pacific. You know, she's far out there. You know, but she did spend a time in my home state of North Carolina. She is the lovely Mrs. Lisa Koykar. She is a physique competitor. She recently competed in the Vancouver. It was a regional show.
Yeah, it was regional. Yeah,
yeah, and she's planning on competing in the Masters Nationals, which is a team collegiate that's coming up in about a month or so.
35 days.
Yeah, wow. You know, so we welcome her and thank you for her time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, George.
Not a problem. You're welcome. So, ma'am, this question actually is, what got you started sport? I call it, muscle and masculinity. Please share.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I've always been an athlete. I in high school played soccer. I was a soccer player. And then I went in the Army. And so that required, strength and resilience as well. But life kind of throws you sideways every now and again. After I got out of the Army, I, did various things. I was a CNA and got involved in healthcare. Eventually, got married. And as we know, sometimes we just start having families. And I had two of my daughters back to back in 14 and a half months. They're 14 and a half months apart. They're now teenagers. And then 3 years after that, I had my youngest daughter, who will be 11 next month. And so, over that period of time, my body went through 3 C-sections, went through a transformation of its own. But then I decided, hey, I wanted to go back to school, went to nursing school and, became a nurse and worked at the bedside for a bit, and then went back and became a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and really started working, with a lot of children and adolescents. And that's where I started out at. But then started seeing adults. And in that time, as I'm, helping my patients, navigate their mental health, I started to see this decline in my own mental health. As we learn, the cup can get empty pretty quick when we're always giving and giving. And a lot of times, especially us healthcare professionals, we tend to forget that we need to fill our own cup, right? And so it was just missing those little signs. I started gaining weight. And at one point, I believe I was close to 190, almost 200 pounds. I'm 5'4". My biological mother had passed away she was morbidly obese. She was close to 420 when she passed. And it was just one day, and we had just moved here to Washington State, and I had just finished my work day, and I sat on the edge of my bed, and I didn't know why I was still here. I was at such a low point that I didn't know if I wanted to exist anymore. And so for me, it was like either I give into that or I become an agent of change. And for me, it was, okay, I don't want to be my mother who passed away at 53, 54, and in such a horrible shape that she was in. And I wanted to be a role model for my daughters. I didn't want them to not have a mother in their life. And so for me, I love working out. And so I started going to the gym again, and I started seeing changes. And for me, that was the therapy that I needed. And to realize that I did have the capability to, not only heal physically, but to heal mentally. And so I really try to integrate that in my own treatment with my own patients is, yes, I could prescribe any medication in the toolbox, right? But really, it starts with this holistic approach of the body and soul. And so for me, it's are we getting, are we sleeping? Because if we're not sleeping, then we really can't do a whole lot. Are we fueling our body, and are we being active in trying to take care of ourselves? And everybody's different. Everybody has, there's people with limitations, and so we work around that. But for me, I find that once we take that holistic approach, things get better. Things get a lot better. And I've been working primarily with adults for the last 6 months. And, I've had quite a few come back and say, you know what, like, I feel like I'm starting to regain my life.
Mhm. I can figure out that. I was a caretaker for my mother for several years. And it's hard to see somebody like my mother. My mother had to raise me, my brothers and sisters, and my nieces and nephews. And
Mhm.
she was a strong woman. And she had a series of seizures. And also she was also diabetic. And, and also she had other complications. And it's tough. It can affect your mind because you know what, there's a lot of stress to it. Because I was blessed to have help. I had people that came and helped me. Like she was this lady who was a CNA, who was really cool, and there was one lady, she stayed with us for a good bit. But it can be a lot, especially you're taking care of a adult, and food is seen as a comfort.
Right.
After my mother passed, I was like about a good 20, 25 pounds from 500 pounds.
Wow.
I remember doctor told me that, and here with myself, I had my first heart attack when I was 39 years old,
Oh,
and I have a
gosh.
pacemaker. I had it
Yeah.
for 12 years, and then after she passed, you know what? I had to make some changes. I was changed some of my habits, but I'm not perfect because this afternoon I had a thing of donut holes, and just. But you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, the mind is one thing. It helps move and motivate you. And if it's go through something like what you went through, it's tough trying to break out of habits. And also losing weight, that's the tough part of it.
Yes.
It's trying to change traditional habits. Because like I said, in the South we have a way we eat and some things, but what, it takes one step. And I'm doing some stuff too right now because I'm planning to go on a trip. And I said last trip I went to Tampa, and if you've ever been to Tampa, it's like, whew, especially
Yeah.
in August. Oh, good Lord.
It's
I mean,
hot.
it's an armpit. And it's one thing, it's hot in North Carolina. We have our heat, but that's a different type of heat. That humidity is killer. So,
For
so
sure.
yeah, yeah. So, when did you start competing? What was that experience like for you that first time?
Yeah. So my very first show was the Vancouver Open in 2025. So I will be, yeah. So for me, it was like, okay, so I'm seeing myself transform, and and I was like, you know what, I really want to um, conquer my social anxiety. What better way to do that than to get on stage half naked, right?
I wouldn't know about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have an amazing coach trainer. His name's Russ. And, he really motivated me. And also, there's really a great community of bodybuilders here in the Pacific Northwest. There's a gentleman by the name of Mark Sadayan who really helped me with posing. And, he started out, just really being, a good source of information and a good mentor. And he's still a mentor to me. In fact, he just won at the Emerald Cup for Masters 50 for, I believe, men's physique. I might be mistaken on that. I don't really pay attention to the men's categories as much. I should.
Me
I should.
either. Yeah, yeah.
But so shout out to Russ, and then my current opposing coach Nick Morrell won at I think it's the Clash that was at South Carolina this past weekend for men's bodybuilding. So, I've had a lot of great mentors, but, kind of, going back, here I had gotten my mindset and my body in a good spot, and my depression and my anxiety had gotten a lot better. I'm actually, diagnosed with OCD, anxiety, depression, ADHD. So it's like, oh, great, I've got all these things. But for me, the social anxiety component was like, okay, like let's do this, because I kind of have this all or nothing mentality. It's like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go full throttle and do this. And so, so I did Vancouver was my very first show in 2025. I did both wellness and bikini. And I did okay in both. I think I walked away with second in true novice, second in novice for wellness, third in masters bikini, 35 and older. And I was told by the judges, hey, listen, like you're not meant for wellness, which that's okay. To hear that you're too proportionate, I guess is a good thing. And I took it as a good thing. Like, hey, maybe you should either step up to figure or, drop down to bikini. And I was like, hey, listen, I love muscle. I'm going to continue going forward. And then, I was like, you know what? I don't like wearing heels on stage. I have 2 left feet. I want to do women's physique, and I don't want to have to worry about heels. So yeah, I did my very first women's physique competition at Northwestern Championships in November of this past year, and I finished second in that in masters. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's continue with this. Let's continue to build more muscle. And since November, my body has continued to change, and I just love it. I think muscle on women is so empowering. It's sexy. There's so much more I can say about it. But I appreciate the sport. It's saved my life, George. The sport has saved my life.
Yeah, many ladies told me because they found a sport late in life, like going through something like either depression or going something through issues of food addiction, like bulimia, anorexia. Sometimes even after being an athlete for a long time, they needed something to keep them going. It's extreme sport if you look at it, but there are some things you gain from it. I think most importantly is the discipline you gain from it, the consistency you gain from it, understanding the aspects of how your body grows and develops. And for women, it's a sport where I think you'll get a lot of backlash against the idea of women with muscle. Again, one of my crime leads says, I'm a muscle person. Oh, y'all ladies, you excite me. I just find y'all intoxicating. But the everyday person may not think of it as seeing women with muscle. There are guys out there saying, you know what, she trying to be a man. Like, dude, I don't have muscles. I got tits bigger than some women out there. So why you have offense when she gets muscles? That tells you something that you have to work on yourself. Right. So, you were also in the military. What rank position was you? Were you, infantry, or were you in the rear with the gear?
No, I was admin. It's now a 42 Alpha, but when I was in, it was a 71 Lima, so administrative specialist. So no, if I could have been an infantryman or infantry woman, I would have loved that. But that was back in the early 2000s when there was certain career fields that women could not be in. But now that's changed, which is great. So the military has definitely has made some improvements in terms of seeing that women are capable of doing multiple and different roles in the military. So, we're seeing women go through Ranger School and it would be interesting. I don't know if anybody has actually made it through Special Forces selection yet.
Navy SEALs, I don't think they
have. Yeah, it would be. I think it's coming at some point. We're going to see the first SF, female soldier, first Navy SEAL female. seaman. Or I was in the Army. So I apologize to anybody that's in the Navy. I don't.
Well, like you said, she was. What was your position again?
I was an administrative specialist, so I was
So,
enlisted.
so there's a movie called "I'm Gonna Get You Sucker," and the scene it said like, so you were a damn secretary.
Yeah, I was the person. Listen. I was the person you didn't want to upset because I could lose your leave.
Ooh.
You know, like you wanted to be nice to me.
All right, be nice to say, hey, Sarge, I don't want no trouble. I just want to get my leave, get my pay, and be out. So,
Yeah.
so as you know, you were doing wellness, and then and you went to physique. Skipped over figure because you didn't want to work the clear heels. I know.
I didn't want to hear. Yeah, I didn't want to wear heels.
They want to hear heels. I mean, I go kick these clocks. I had her lady told me stories when they got after they left figure. Said, you know what? I took my heels. I threw them in the trash. I was done with them, or they'll give it to another girl who might like them. So that was experience. What, like I said, for you, what is it like when you, especially get in the morning, you got to get ready, train, especially even though your baby's about grown because they're teenagers. But I remember teenagers got to beat them down, So and have responsibilities with your job and also with your family.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you have to have a schedule. Like things are very much scheduled out. Two of my daughters play competitive soccer, so that's a whole a whole list of got practices and games. And so for me, it's you really have to carve out that time and be dedicated to that. So like for example, when I'm in the thick of prep and we're getting close to cutting, right? Of course, cardio is going to go up and, training is going to change a bit. So to me, it could be a 2-hour session, but I can't be in the gym for 2 hours because at a singular time. So what I'll do is I will get up at, 4 a.m. and go do my 50 minutes on the Stairmaster, come back home, get the kids ready, go to school, go to work. And then when I get off at 5, I'll drive and meet my trainer at the gym at 6. And then also I have to give a shout out to my husband. I mean, I couldn't do this without his support. Yes, there's times where he has to go TDY and stuff like that. But I mean, it has been critical to have him there supporting me and being able to pick up where I couldn't with the kids. And luckily, I've had neighbors and other friends to be able to, kind of carpool the girls to their events. And so things are very much scheduled, which works really good for my OCD because, I like that, but, also just at the same time, knowing that when you have all these balls juggling, you got to be intentional and sometimes take a moment, take a breath, and kind of prioritize what's important. Yes, training's important, posing's important, but also my children and my husband are important too. So sometimes there is that sacrifice piece, but at the end of the day, I feel like everything eventually falls into place as it should.
Because I think one thing people realize that even though bodybuilding is a solo sport, it does take a team. You have your coach, your trainer, you have your husband in your corner. That's important. Also, your husband, he is serving our country. He's an officer in the Army. And being a dad, and having a wife who might be buffer than you, what you're like, dude, your wife's all jacked and yoked. Why you look like you're like the Pillsbury Doughman? So, but like I said, I think that's important because the regimental, or being military, you have to be regimental. We have to have, order, it helps in your process because it's good you have those friends and neighbors that want to help you out with the kids, and then try to find time with your children. Like, have any of your kids ever been to your shows? What did like go? Go see
mommy? Yeah. So my daughters are the biggest cheerleaders. So at this past Vancouver, it was funny because my middle daughter, she looks exactly like, she's just a mini me of me. And she videotaped me on stage and you could just hear her like cheer me on. And she's like, go mom. And, like it's hard when you're on stage because there's just so much, you really can't even see out in the audience really, because all the lights and everything. But I could remember distinctively hearing just like hearing the girls cheering. And for me, that gave me even more motivation and boost to really stick it hard on stage. And they are the reason why I do this, is because I want to show my daughters that no matter where they are in their life, no matter what is being thrown at you, if you want something, you grab it by the horns, and you just stand tall. You don't let anybody break you down, and you don't let the external noise dictate that internal narrative.
Mhm. Made me think. I like quote movies, and one of my favorite movies is Rocky Balboa. Always tell you something. Let me tell you something. You know, life is going to beat you down, but it's not how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can take the hits and keep moving forward. And that's the mindset. You gotta. Sometimes life can be tough. You gotta keep moving forward, but also you have to realize that, you know what? Let me take some time and enjoy my peace and have people that support me. Because you know what? You're going to have people on the side saying, "Oh, wow, yeah, well, just," because haters. Here with me, I love my haters because you know what? You energize you. Your hate gives me fuel. It keeps me going.
Yeah.
And it's good that your baby supports you, and that's the most important part. So anyway, folks, what we're gonna do here while we have Lisa, we're gonna jump into social media. If you want to follow her, the links are in the description in the live. You want to check her out, you want to reach out, you want to show your support, and also, you know what? As you know, she's an NPC competitor. Sponsorship does help because it's she got kids to feed. She got a man, but sometimes they got a budget. And he's in the military. You know how it is with the pay. Can be funny
Yeah.
these days. But if you're interested in supporting her, whatever you can do, I appreciate it. But guys out there, she's a lovely lady. She's a nice lady. She took time to talk with me. Don't be weird. No weird stuff. No, I heard stories. I mean, it's just you wouldn't think it, but it is some guys out there, particularly just So if you want to follow the links in the description in this live. So here we go. We're gonna jump into her social media for a bit. So follow Lisa and see her progress. And I saw she posted this this afternoon. She tagged me in this, and this is she's getting ready for the Masters Nationals in Pittsburgh, and she says in the background, he says, "There you go," and it says,
And
"Coming soon to a
coming
theater
soon.
near you." That's really good. And what do you feel like is your best feature physically?
Oh, well, my shoulders, my delts, especially. I'm a farm girl from Indiana. My so a little story. I actually grew up in the foster care system in Indiana. My last foster placement, I was there for 4 years. Deb and Reggie, they're who I consider my parents, truly. My foster father passed away from ALS in 2017, but Deb was a nurse. She's the reason why I became a nurse, why I became a nurse practitioner. But they had a horse farm. And so every summer, I mean, all throughout the year, we were taking care of horses. And so like I, was throwing, 50-pound bales of hay up in the barn. So like, I think, yeah, my shoulders, my triceps. Yeah. Yeah, I have a great upper body, I think. My abs especially. So, but yeah, I call myself a farm girl from Indiana.
Well, my family, we were sharecroppers. We did some work. I worked the fields when I was younger. My brother, by the time he was 10, 12 years old, he was driving tractors. Yeah, I know about y'all farm girls. Y'all be strong. Y'all be strong. So y'all can. Back in the day, I remember stories of how when my grandfather them, they used to ride mules and stuff, and if the mule fall in the middle of the field, it's just, hey, somebody just got to do the plowing. But yeah, it's a life, and it can really build a person, things you have to do, to grow and develop. And here she is, and and as you say you're opposing coach, and you've been working with him quite some time. What do you feel like you need to work on the most when it comes down to
Oh,
your overall aesthetics?
I wish we would have Nick on here. He'd probably tell you. So for me, I think like the biggest thing is obviously like being able to really bring out my quads. And when I'm in, like that, side chest pose, like really bringing, twisting, showing that knee more, bringing out the quads a little bit, and making sure like really engaging my abs and my obliques. Like I really do have, a really good, despite having 3 C-sections, guys. I have really good abs, and sometimes I get a little self-conscious because you know, I've worked so hard, but there's still just a little bit of skin, you know, just a little bit of that skin. And so I think part of it's just being in my head about it. And so instinctively, I try to hide that, and then don't engage my abs, and so like those are things like, you know, despite all the progress that I've made in, you know, almost 24 months, you know, there's still things that, you know, will, you know, still kind of haunt me a little bit. And and I think it keeps me humble too. Like, you know, it's very easy to get to this stage and be like, and be cocky and you know, be kind of self-centered about it. But it's those flaws that really keep me grounded and saying, you know what, I'm human.
Yeah, I think it's what we can never be really truly perfect. We're going to have those flaws, but this is one thing I learned. What doesn't like life may put a burden on you. It can put God can put no more you can bear, but as
Mhm.
long as it doesn't break you, it's just going to bend you a bit. And then also you can just be a better person out of it because you have dealt with clients and customers and people who have dealt with mental issues, and also with bodybuilding. There's always an issue of body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
It's just a big thing. Like here she is on the beach, and wow, and man, oh man, I can't help myself. And, I respectfully to your husband, and here she is with recently, I think that's I think that's we niece Hardy, who just got a pro card last month
Yeah.
at Pittsburgh. Amazing lady. I've been following quite some time. I love to have her on as a guest.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's such a beautiful soul. I met her actually before Vancouver. Tangi Johnson had a workshop, women's workshop, and I met. She goes by I call her Nisi, and I met her there, and she's just the kindest person, and we both competed together at I don't say against. I don't like to say I compete against people. I compete with. I competed with her at Vancouver, and it was a good show. She got first, and overall I came in second. And I considered it a win anyways, because whenever I see someone that is amazing and a beautiful person inside and out, it's a win. So
That's good. That's good. It's good to be because it can be a competitive sport, part of it, but it's good to
yeah.
have to gain some camaraderie among, especially with women. Y'all can be yeah.
Oh yeah.
My jobs, quite for my jobs. I used to work at a gas station when I was 16 years old. I worked with women. One of my first real major jobs, I worked at a textile place. I worked for women, and I had another job as a side job, and it was a gentleman's club, and I worked with women. Yeah, and I think women, you can come together, but I think with men we have more brother. Guys can have an argument, we can fight, and then still we'll be buddies the next day. But women, y'all live for the grudge. You're like the outlaw Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood. So
Yes.
here goes my man here, just Kevin coming through. He says this. He says, "Amazing lats."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. But
That's actually
going
one
back,
thing I've really been working on is the lats. So that I love hearing that. Thank you so much.
you want that nice, especially in figure. You doing physique now, where you want that nice fullness. And you know what? If you, I don't know if you pay attention to it. There's some stuff going around. As you know, we have a major show coming up, and there's talk about how with women's physique. I posted, if you follow my IG, I posted something. People are really commenting about it. How the vision is starting to. I said it before. The lines are blurring between
Yes.
WPD and women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
We're seeing girls who look like more closer to one division than the other, and even such as other divisions like even wellness. The girls are getting like more harder, more conditioned. Bikini is starting to look like when figure first started out about 10, 20 years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and even they got a new division. Excuse me, it's very called Fit Model.
Yeah.
But you know what? I understand why you do it. I get why they do it. But the fact is, you bring in something else to reboot from another division, like they did with Zeke for women's bodybuilding. It changes because they're not sticking to the guidelines, especially in amateur competitors. Once you get your pro card, now you have to start from the bottom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it is a big debate. And in fact, it's, something that I've talked with, with my coach, with my posing coach, and I have so much respect for, Sarah Bradley, Paula Ranta. I mean, just phenomenal physiques, and the time and effort that they put into that. I respect that so much. And also, being newer to the sport and trying to figure out, okay, so what is it that, they're looking for? I mean, yeah, I might look young, but I'll be 44 in November. So like, time isn't necessarily on my side, but you never know. I, you know, but for me, I just want clarity in terms of what exactly are the judges looking for. And so when I get on stage, I'm presenting what they're looking for.
Mhm. Well, I know there's quite a few ways. I got to meet Paula. Was it last year? I went to Tampa, and she's still a baby. She's still wet behind the ears and breast smell like Similac. Just 26. And she's just made it. She's going to be. And one thing about her, we have the same birthday, November the 19th. Now
Yeah.
she's going to
See,
be
all
40.
of us November 19th, people.
Yeah, she's going to be 44. I'm going to be 52. You don't think I look at
Oh, you look amazing.
Well, I had the pleasure of not having no wife or children. I just, it's had mine. So you'll have that. I don't have that responsibility. I won't call it a burden. I was responsibility, but that is one of my regrets. Never having any of my own. I did help raise my nieces and nephews. And it's kind of like the closest I get to having kids. But you know what? It's important that they have that family connection. And being like, I remember quite a few times when they needed something, especially money, they get to Uncle George because Uncle George had 2 jobs. Yeah. But yeah, I think, it goes back to sticking with what the criteria you're supposed to be
Right.
when you look at divisions. But again, it goes by who comes to the show, what the judges like, all the other stuff that's involved in it. We have here a comment here. Shout out to one of my guests. He just popped in. Shout out to man Lawrence Perkins. He says, he says, hello, Lisa and George. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming through. And you're getting ready for the Teen Collegiate that's in Pittsburgh. Why that show? Because this, like I said, you are in the Northwest. There are a couple of shows that are closer to you for pro qualification.
Right, like Vegas. Yeah, I decided Pittsburgh at the suggestion of my posing coach for specifically for the Masters part. And he thought that would be a better show for me to obtain the pro card. Originally was going to do Vegas, but I think staying out of Sin City might be a good thing for me. So, I think and I think Gary Udit puts on a good program. So I'm excited. I've seen, I've gone back and looked at previous, shows and so I'm excited. I'm excited to go to Pittsburgh. I'm excited to step on stage and compete and bring a total package. I'm excited to see how I'm going to be judged because I know it's different versus the regional NPC judging, that this is going to be a little bit different. And so I'll be interested to hear, what feedback I get.
Yeah, depending who's going to be the head judge. I know Sandy Williamson sometimes does those shows at Pittsburgh. There's also Tyler. He's head judging for the Toronto Pro this weekend. There's quite a few, decent judges. There's also, I don't know, it'd be I don't know if you can swing it. There's also the Universe. If you're still in the area, that's a good show for poor qualification. But like I said, I don't know. I've never been to Vegas. I've been thinking about it. I mean, playing gambling, and I heard the story that prostitution is legal in 10 counties in Nevada. So
yeah, so, there's a lot one can get in trouble with going to Vegas. I've been there, so I have a little bit of a wild streak, us Scorpios.
Well, it's me. I'm a particular type of criminal. I just love things like anarchy, chaos. I love dynamite and gasoline and gunpowder, And I like women like you, Lisa. You buff women excite me because you are beautiful. I know from your expertise, what would you say about something like that? I just want to get your viewpoint because,
Like in terms of like people looking at me.
no, about me. That's
Oh,
just,
you.
because
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
uh, thank you. I really need that, because some people have some issues with what I do, but I don't care. But I get here's some comments. I got to put my old man glasses for a second. He says, "Shout out to my man Lawrence. I appreciate you, brother." He says George is the uncle father of the year. Nah, I'm just uncle. No father. That's a special title. That's not me. I'm just uncle. I accept that. Also, he says, "Good evening." That's my brother XA Gucci 23. He says, "Good evening, brother George and Lisa. Good evening, brother."
Oh,
Also, he says this, my man Lawrence, he says,
Joker's in
Joker
the
in the
house. Yes.
house. Yes, yes, he is one of my personalities. So this is the thing about bodybuilding, being a woman in the sport is tough. It's a sport where it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, especially draining, especially what you went through with your mental health. And I would say it's good that you got the help because most people, recently, just about I think a few weeks ago, last month, we had a lady who was IB pro who committed suicide. It was I knew a lady who knew her, and we talked about it, what she went through. And there's been stories like remember there was a guy Rich Payon who committed
Yes.
suicide, and you know, and some people will always point that finger that they're using steroids and yeah, but that's not it. Here's well learned. Steroid is everything. As a medical professional, you know that it's anything from birth control to inhalers to everything. It's different types, but it's used as a process of growing and developing.
Yep.
It's used for recovery because it does take long, especially if you're a natural competitor. It takes you more time to build that muscle compared to the ones who are enhanced.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And, I think when it comes to mental health and bodybuilding, there's a lot of misconceptions as well. And I think I'm in a very unique position being a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner where, I have that education and expertise to be able to say, hey, listen, like, no, it's truly, you know, it could be it's a multidimensional thing. It's environmental, it's, biological. There's people like based on like variants in your genes that make you more prone to anxiety, depression, ADHD, autism, like, so, if we're really getting down to the nitty gritty of it, it's not just steroids or there's, a genetic component to it. And, so I think, being in the role that I'm in, it's so important to, educate people on that, actually bodybuilding could be very positive. It could actually save people, you know.
Well, I've had interviews with ladies that told me again, like a couple of ladies told me one time bodybuilding something helped them after they got divorced because the husbands didn't like. Because as men, we like our women to stay the same. We can get fat and grum people. We want y'all to stay look like Jim Cleaver, but they were changing, and they didn't feel comfortable with the change. And doing the sport kept their mindset. Then he found somebody that loved who they were, and that's the most important. You have to not just have somebody love you. You have to love yourself. Like Earth Kids say it best. Like I don't want somebody so I can have them to love. I want to love myself, and I want to share it with somebody. I want me to love me before anybody can love me. And
Right.
that's the important part of that, and try to be stable because this is what can be hectic, between the training, the dieting. One thing for y'all ladies, prep can be a lot, especially when it's like show day. You got, you run a million miles a minute. You're you got to come in best shape. You have to check all your boxes. You have to make sure you eat the right foods. So much involved with this. What's your diet like during the week?
My diet, yeah. My trainer has me dialed in. So right now, I eat a lot of chicken teriyaki because I love it. But yeah, so I drink my egg whites. I know some people might think that's gross, but there's no way I can eat 9 egg whites. Sorry, not cook it. I'm not gonna be able to eat it. It's just too much too much. So I find that it's a lot easier to just drink it. So what I do is I put a little bit of sugar-free maple syrup in it. It's just like drinking liquid pancake. Just, you
You're
can't
like
knock
Rocky Balboa, Hey, yo, Adrian.
Yeah, exactly. You can't knock it till you try it, people. I promise. Like, let me tell you, I have a thing. I am the pickiest eater you'll ever, probably one of the pickiest eaters you'll ever
I
meet.
am too.
And um, I love it. Yeah, you could, it's so much easier because I do not like to eat in the morning. Like, I feel like my digestive system really doesn't start kicking in until about 11:30 in the morning. But for me to get in, my macros, I have to get something in the morning. So egg whites, veggies, cooked veggies, and then I eat 5 meals a day. So pre-workout, I like my rice cakes because I like to get those carbs in, especially leg day. My body responds really well to carbs. And I get that nice full look. And then I'll have chicken teriyaki with rice and some veggies, and then we're getting ready to pull my 93% lean meat right now. But I have a recipe that I make. It's kind of like a burrito bowl, but yeah, I love Trader Joe's, and so I get my meat there, and I use a little bit of their salsa and some taco seasoning, 0 calories to that. And then I get their it's frozen fire roasted bell peppers and onions, and I put that in there. Oh my gosh, it's so good, guys, so good. And just a little bit of taco sauce, zero calories. It's like better than Chipotle in my opinion. And then I have my protein shake and a banana. So, I mean, roughly right now, I think I'm at like 2,200 calories. I think that's going to probably start coming down a little bit as we're about 35 days out from show. So, um,
Yeah. And like that, and I know at home, do the babies eat the same? Because I know most.
oh no, I'm gonna tell you guys. I have 3 girls, 10, soon to be 11. My middle will be 14 on next Friday on the 19th of June. And my oldest is 15. So I've got 2 teenage girls and one that's on pretty much a preteen. She'll be 11. It is constantly, Mom, can I order Uber Eats? Mom, can I get Starbucks? Mom, can I get Chick-fil-A?
You
And I'm
you you
like,
you get what I give you. I mean, that's how
you got food here. I feel like I spend more on their stuff than I do on mine. Like,
well, tell them to get a job.
I know.
Go pick up bottles. Go get recycle or something. Make some money for yourself. You feed yourself. You're about grown now, 15 and 16. I know the little baby one. Yeah, that's the baby. That's the baby. Always, I'm the middle son. Out of my brothers and sisters. The baby always get all the love.
Oh
The
yeah,
baby,
and she knows it,
the
and she
baby. I hate
knows
the
it.
baby. Okay, we got some comments here. Shout out to my man Lawrence Perkins coming through. Thank you, brother. He says this. Sending prayers to you, Lisa, to continue to keep on going. You made to inspire others around the world, including myself. Shout out to my brother X.A. Gucci coming through. He says this. Keep up the good work, George. Thank you, brother. Also, my man says this. My man Lawrence says, that's how I grew up. We didn't have any
Right,
choice to eat in my household. Cool. And he agrees with me exactly, George. Thank you.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing is that it's good that it's good that you found something that works for you. Like
yeah.
in the process, like you only been doing this for a couple of years. Is there anybody particularly that you pay attention to in the sport other than your coach and your trainer that you admire their work, their consistency of how they grow and evolve as a bodybuilder?
Oh well, I know. It's actually I have 2 heroes in terms of bodybuilding. They're not female, which is surprisingly. I know. I I have loved Ronnie Coleman since the beginning of time. Like
Yeah, baby.
he's
Time to
like,
bleed.
yes. I just I just idolize him, and then him and Jay Cutler both just their dynamic relationship. I have so much respect for both of them. Um, but yeah, Ronnie Coleman is just to me is just if I could meet one bodybuilder, it would be him.
Well, one gentleman I got to meet, an old school gentleman from back there, Kevin Lavone. I got to meet him when I was in Tampa. I shook his hand. I told him, I said to him, Mr. Lavone, you should have been Mr. Olympia twice. He was a pretty wiki of men's bodybuilding, but that never happened. And also with me, I got to meet people like Sharonica Hinton when I was there. She's a beautiful woman. You know, I think she is truthfully the equivalent of what women's physique is supposed to be. One of my biggest highlights is Ashley Jones. You know, she gave me a shout out right after she won her, took second place at Olympia. But for me, the greatest highlight in my life is meeting an actual celebrity. If you recognize this gentleman right here, this is my friend Eunice. She runs a company, Bad Rap,
Oh
and that
wow.
is yes, that's Diamond Dave, David Lee Roth. I
Oh
would
my
never
gosh.
met
I was like, is that I was like,
I would never met that man in my life. Let me tell you how it happened. I went to Tampa to help my friend Eunice. Eunice runs a company, Bad Rap. Bad Rap, the moniker is known as Ripped and Pump. Big and defined, Ripped and Pump. Shout out to Eunice. They sponsored the Triple O Dynasty just a couple of months ago. And I went down there to support my friend. And he was there because he's a big bodybuilding fan. We were talking with him a little bit because there was a female bodybuilder back then called Kay Baxter. That was his coach and trainer. And he was talking with us. It was really cool because I saw him at first. I didn't know who he was. So it was those old dude with his wife, just looking around. And then I go back to the booth and I'm sitting there with the booth with Eunice. I'm looking at my phone, and here's the man coming, and my head clicks back because I'm a child of the '80s. I grew up, in the '80s, and I remember watching Van Halen, not Van Hagar, and I saw his face, that smile. I clicked. That's David Lee Roth. I shook his hand and said, Mr. Roth. I mean, I remember your Run of the Devil, Jump. I mean, especially Jump was on like all of the,
right.
the urban market because it really crossed over when it was playing that synthesizer.
Yeah.
It was a great opportunity to meet that man. And a shout out to my friend Eunice because, again, one person I'm a fan of, and she is the current Miss Olympia all time, and she's my girlfriend, and that is
Oh,
Andrea Shaw.
she looks
Oh,
amazing.
she's just beautiful, and I always want to give shout out to Eunice because a while back, this was like a few years ago, right after a little bit after my birthday. Eunice said, George, I'm seeing something in the mail for your birthday. Okay, it came back like about a week later, and it's issue of Muscle Development with Andrea on
Oh
the
my
cover.
gosh, look how amazing.
Yeah, this is the last time they have it because they don't do the hard covers anymore because they go with digital. I
The
got a bunch
digital.
of comic books and bodybuilding magazines in the storage room. My mom put them up one day because she cleared my room. And what
Yeah.
makes this one special, and to quote my other guy, you get something, Cisa, never do it for free. And so this is the payment, but when the champ tells you she appreciates what I do and loves my support, and
Oh,
that is a gift. I mean, that is a gift. I mean, just I would love to meet her someday. I don't know. I might act like Oprah Winfrey, the color purple, like when I saw you, Miss Andrea, I knew there was a God. But yeah, and again, it's good that there's people out there that you respect and admire. Because the thing is, this goes back to again how this sport can be really a lot for a woman, not just the workout, the training, but the financial part of it. For you ladies, guys have their expenses. They do need more stuff because during the season, but when show day, that's your biggest expense. You have to your suits,
oh,
hair, makeup, tanning, entry fees, travel to the shows. I mean, the guys, when it's show day, they just wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts to slap on some moose up,
right.
shave their head. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is expensive. And I'm so lucky, my husband is very supportive of this and we make it work. And it really does go back to that whole philosophy of it's so important to have that one person that's going to stand by you through the good, bad, and ugly. And he's seen it all with me. He's been with me when I've been at my lowest and has been through the whole journey with me. We've been married. It'll be 17 years in September. Or 16
Awesome.
years. Sorry, we've been together for 16 years. Yeah, sorry, adding a year on. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So 16 years in September. He's my why. He and my daughters are my why, and um, for them to see me on stage and to have that, it's just it's. I don't even know. I don't even think I have the words to describe. I just hope my daughters as they get older will look back on this and be like, okay, I'm proud of my mom.
Well, you know what? My mother, like I said, her and my father were together for 55 years, even though my dad lived in New Jersey, we still in North Carolina. And she was, again, I say she was my woman. And she did a lot. She was not a perfect woman. No one, nobody's perfect,
One's
but she had to
perfect.
do what she had to do. She had to raise six kids and a couple of grandkids. And and it's good that you have that in your corner because I've talked to ladies where, especially when it comes to family, like family and friends don't understand it. Relationships change. I have one lady talk about how her mother doesn't like it, and sometimes, it can be tough to explain to somebody who don't understand what the sport's about. They just think it's just big people lifting a lot of weights and just, and working around naked. But there's a lot more to it. It's the training, the diet, the consistency. Like training, what's it like for you? What's that training when you get to the gym? That thing says, "Yes, I'm ready to do it today." And then Jason, shit, it's on the schedule. Ah,
Let's see. For me, it would probably be chest day, to be honest. I love, to me, going into the gym after a hard day at work, like when I've had to deal with so much of other people's issues. Going into the gym is kind of like my church. Even things that I don't like to do, necessarily chess, I still find joy in it because I'm able to just for a minute, not have to think of anything complex in the moment. Just do the rep, do the set. But yeah,
just
if I had to pick one, it'd be my chest, chest day.
that's surprising. Not a lot of ladies do like chest day. Some would say back. That's the popular one. I had some freaks say they love leg day, and those are sick freaks. Those are masochists that say that. But you know what? Everybody finds something out of out of training in general. When they go to the gym, especially when the pandemic hit, the gyms were closed. People had to find ways to train. You know, it's a place where they find center. I was going to a gym a good while. I was going to Planet Fitness. I know it's not a bodybuilder gym, but it was a place I was going. I had some setbacks. I couldn't go back. Right now, I don't even have a car anymore. I can't go back and forth. But I try to do some stuff at the house. And I find it does help. It gives you some euphoria. It gives you burn you burn demons that might be around you because you exercise them. When you exercise them, that's what the term of exercising means. You are exercising those demons from your body. And dealing with people's own anxieties and stuff. I know it's tough. It's a lot on you, but sometimes you gotta find something that helps you in your process and in this career. Like, how long do you think you will want to keep doing this, be a nurse practitioner?
Oh, being a nurse practitioner, I'll probably do it for another 20 years. Like I said, I think there's such a need for mental health providers, especially mid-level practitioners, which is what nurse practitioners and PAs are. They're mid-level, and then you have MDs and DOs. Uh, there's such a need for us. There's so many people struggling with their mental health, and I think that what's more important is that we need practitioners that look at things from a multidimensional perspective instead of just treating the symptoms with a medication. Because here's the thing, like a lot of the medications that we use in psychiatry, like SSRIs, like Zoloft, Prozac, Lexapro, come with a lot of side effects and a lot of negative side effects for people. And there's, again, kind of going back to the genetics, there's people that have variants at the LC6A4, which means that they may not necessarily benefit from those SSRIs because they don't have enough serotonin transporters for those medications to be effective. So, so some people just don't respond well to psychotropic medications. And so we have to look at it, from a different lens in terms of, okay, are we deficient? Because we're in a society where a lot of things are processed these days. So amino acids, and I know like peptides are a big thing, and we're seeing a lot of benefits with peptides. But a lot of people don't want to stick themselves, right? Like some people are afraid of needles. But we have like NAC, which is an amino acid. And then some people have a mutation. It's called the MTHFR mutation, where you are not able to effectively convert folic acid to the bioavailable form of methylfolate. Methylfolate plays a critical role in the synthesis of neurotransmitters, so like serotonin, norepinephrine, um, dopamine, and whatnot. So, like if you have that variant, and let's say that the variant is called a TT variant, where you're at a 70% reduction, so you're not truly synthesizing appropriately those neurotransmitters. Of course, you're more likely to have mental health conditions like depression and anxiety. So how do we fix that? Well, instead of taking folic acid, what we do is we take the bioavailable form called L-methylfolate. So there's a science to it. And then also we talk about creatine, right? Creatine, not only grows our muscles, but it grows the muscle in between our ears. And it helps, actually, there's a lot of research on how it actually decreases depression and anxiety.
Well, the brain is a muscle anyway, because
Yeah,
it may not be as flexible as like these, but it's still a muscle. It works. It
yeah,
absorbs information. It grows when it gets educated. I mean, it develops. Some people maybe not as fast as early, especially if you are someone who has issues with Down syndrome, if you have autism or any kind of mental defect. I remember one time I watched a thing. There's like how a guy broke it down. There's what's the difference between a psychopath and a psychotic?
yeah,
I tell you, a psychopath don't think he's crazy. A psychotic
yeah,
knows he's crazy.
right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know I'm a bit of the psychopath. So, but yeah, I mean, I remember a few years ago. This was a little bit after my brother James died. It was kind of hard because he was the father figure to us younger kids and my niece and nephews. I had a little breakdown. It was tough. He was my big brother. I mean, and it's been over 20 years. And then my sister passed. It's been almost like my mom, and it's tough to lose those people. But you know what? I gained something from each of them. They taught me things to be stronger, how to be a person. And doing this content is something that helps me too because it gives me a purpose. When I talk to you ladies, I hear your stories, and sometimes it helps motivate me because at one point I was nearly 500 pounds. I'm now right under 416. I mean, it's tough. I mean, like again, I did eat a thing of a donut holes, but I do try to eat smart. I had some nice greens and some potatoes and a little shrimp. I try to be smart with my eating, but every now and then I'm not always perfect. And this is what I learned from you, ladies. I respect your work ethic, your consistency, your determination, what makes you what not so much motivates you, what disciplines do, which is to do this, which is a very extreme sport, which is considered a very masculine sport.
Right. Yeah, and I've had a few people kind of make comments, and at the end of the day, what gives me the drive and motivation is when I can go in the gym and I can outlift some of the men in there, right? I'm like, yeah, well, you can continue to flap the lips, but I'm over here making progress. So,
But
again, it goes back. I'm not going to let that external noise dictate the internal narrative here.
yeah, I feel there's a lot of ladies are like that. That's the thing is, if you have that energy to talk about what you doing, put it towards yourself, and pick your weight up, do better, do like I said again, as men, our purpose of life is to breed, battle, and we die. And in between that time, we want to have somebody that uplift and also support our women, because you're the ones who take care of us. When we go down, you take care of our home, take care of our children. We it's a partnership. And that's one thing I wish I had relations, but not relationships. But you know what? My woman was my mom, and she stood by me when I was going through my hard times about my pacemaker and, going through other stuff, and I stood by her when she was going through her thing. And I think it's important to find that. And that's good that you have that with your husband. And it's good to have that with your kids. It's important you should live for yourself, not worry about what others have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So you're planning on doing, the what you feel like you are really, what really gets you excited about this sport?
Well, what really gets me excited about the sport is, getting on stage, conquering my fears, To me, it's me going against myself, not me going against the person next to me. I'm my greatest competitor. And so when I can get on stage and show the hard work that I've done and do it in a way that's classy and beautiful, um, that to me drives me. Um, and again, it drives me to show the young ladies that my daughters and all the other women that may be out in the audience to be like, okay, you know what, like I can do this too, because they can, like I talk to women all the time in the gym and they come up to me and they hype me up, which I absolutely adore. But also I reciprocate that because we need to be lifting one another, and like you said, women can be particularly catty at times. um, and so I know it takes a lot out of a person to come up and approach me. And so I want them to always feel like that they can come back and talk to me, and know that I will support them. I tell people all the time at the gym, I go to Spanaway Fitness and Tacoma Barbell. They're owned by the same person. Um, and it's a great community. It's not, it's not like, Anytime Fitness or, LA Fitness. It's, owned locally, small gym. And it's truly a family environment there. And I always tell people, listen, like, if you're struggling to get up out of bed to go to the gym, hit me up on Instagram. Like, I will motivate you. Like, I will make sure that you get up. Like, because I know what it's like, to not have support, and especially, being in the foster care system and being in 12 different foster homes until I was finally in the right home. Um, uh, and I don't want people to feel like that they don't have someone that they can turn to.
That's good. It's good. I think she's a lovely lady, folks. One question I'm gonna ask you also, like, especially is, I'm a fat man that have cravings. And after that last show, after that long prep, tell me, share it me, Lisa, what is that thing that you want the most? That thing that you desire, the thing that make you stranger, but it make you
Oh
stronger.
man. Okay, so so I love Italian beef sandwiches. Okay, I lived in the Chicago suburbs for 7 years. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody, but you cannot beat Chicago cuisine. I'm just saying, I mean, you cannot beat, you can't beat it.
I remember watching this video with Jon Stewart talking about Chicago pizza versus New York pizza. I gotta send it to you. It's crazy how you saying, like, you talk about, your soup and bread, But yeah, but I think, yeah, everybody has that thing, the desire. It's nice to have it now and then. We can't have it every day because it can derail your progress.
Oh,
It's smart.
absolutely.
Yeah, you gotta be smart eater. That's the thing, that food is part of the process. Like, I've ladies told me that it's not always going to be the gym. It's going to be 60-40. So 60 in the kitchen, 40 in the gym. It's about eating the right food, follow your macros. If you do, some say, one guy said, I don't count my macros. I know I got 7 ounces of steak, I got 7 ounces of steak, I got this much. I don't need to count it, but I'm paying attention to it. It's
Yeah,
important to that. Again, people need to understand it's not about popping pills and like that. Because I've
right.
had people told me, say, George, if they took what I take in my training, if they don't follow the same plan, go work on the same diet, they're not going to look like me. They're going to look like walking melting ice cream, because it's not all about what you take. It's about being consistent, being disciplined,
Right.
being persistent, and also sticking to a plan. And
Right.
that's an important part of the process as a bodybuilder.
Right. And the plan can change too, right? So you have to be able to adjust with that and not get stuck in a linear process. That's a sure way to have a lot of failure if you're not flexible, because your body constantly changes. And so you learn a lot about your body in the sport. Like for me, I respond really well to carbs. My body loves it. My muscles love it, but someone else may not do, they may not do as well with carbs. And so, yeah, I think a lot of it is based on, what your body likes, your genetics plays a huge role, and obviously, your commitment and tenacity.
That's good. Yeah, it's good to be committed to something that might not be the norm. Like bodybuilding, I used to remember bodybuilding come on television, but now it can show cornhole and throwing darts. But
Right.
that's the thing about this sport. To find something for yourself in this process, what makes you grow and develop as an athlete, and you are an athlete, and also the fundamentals of understanding everything's involved in it, from dieting to training, and also with your career dealing with the mental aspects of it, because especially prep can be draining on the mind, cravings and stuff like that, sleep and everything can be affected, and then try to find that little piece that that keeps you centered.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's good that you have support of your husband and your kids. The audience is staring at you, say, "That's our mom, that's my wife." But then some guy says, "Yeah, it's a cute little blonde. You mind? Hey, you freak! Come on, shut your mouth about your wife." Because there are guys out here saying, "We get excited about your ladies with the muscles, yeah." Yeah. But again, this is how I learned from my talk conversation. This is a tough sport, and
It is.
people who don't know it, understand it, we see these amazing bodies, these amazing men and women going shit condition, but don't understand that you're tired, you are
Yeah.
dehydrated, you are hangry, you have to come out there, you have to how my other pronunciation, you have to go with a smile, but
Yeah.
and try to find what really drives you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but one thing I wish I could do, I would with sponsorship, because again, it can help you out, cover your costs. There's guys out there who I tell guys, if you follow this live stream, reach out to these ladies, but don't be that weird guy and say, "Hey, Lisa, I heard you're a head specialist, and I get some here. I know you're sick freak." This is what if I could do this, if I had a company, I would say, Miss Koykar, you have an interesting story. Military wife, veteran yourself, mother of three children, working in the mental aspects of health. We're interested in your story. We saw your interview with Mr. Alder Age. We'd like to sponsor your upcoming show, cover your costs of that. But if you feel comfortable with our product that helps your process, let us know, and we
Yeah.
will guarantee a future with our company as an ambassador, and also we gain a relationship, especially in
Yeah.
sport of bodybuilding. It can be difficult. So, madam, if you feel like this is something that you might be interested in, let us know, and we were happy to be a part of your process.
Oh, I love that.
I wish it happened. I wish it could. So,
Yeah.
so we're not gonna hold her too much longer. She got the baby's supposed to be coming. Her baby's home.
Yeah, well, they finished school yesterday, but my 15-year-old, she is in driver's ed and needs to have some hours behind the wheel. So you want to talk about anxiety, guys? That's anxiety right there, is letting my daughter drive my car.
His thing is, you're not the one who's teaching him. I remember my brother James. He was teaching me in his Chevrolet with a stick. That's why I hate stick. He used to hit me in my leg because, like, I would forever in my life I would drive an automatic. I would never drive a stick.
See,
It
I
took me a couple
like,
of times.
I love
Yeah, yeah,
sticks. I love it.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. You can keep it. You can keep it. You can
Yeah.
keep it.
I used to, hey, one little thing I always tell people, one thing about me is I used to drag race Mustangs. So that's my
My
hidden
brother's
talent.
my brother's drag race too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you feel like Vin Diesel, like be a mile a yard, a win's a win.
Yep. I
Yeah.
still catch myself at the stoplight in my Highlander, as soon as it turns green, like jumping, like trying to beat my time off the line.
Well, interview a lady a while back, Talia Fergie. She used to do, I think, demolition, racing back
That's
in
a
the day.
fun one too. I did demolition derby. I did one. I did do that once.
Once. Well, like I said, nah, that's not me. I'll be driving like Miss Daisy. I'll take my time. Yeah. So, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna say this to you. What would you want towards your future in bodybuilding?
Hmm. I mean, I at the end of the day, I'm a competitor. And for me, I would love to get my pro card. I would love to. continue until I couldn't anymore. I mean, I know when once you get your pro card, you're starting at the bottom again, and that's something that I'm willing to do. But also, I want to be able to take that and integrate that in mental health, and change the landscape a little bit and kind of change some of the negative stigmas that we've heard about bodybuilding.
Yeah, like quite often, sometimes ladies I become friendly with, we talk about stuff. And I have another friend. She's going through a situation. I don't want to get too much details of it. We talk, and I think like I learned this: women, especially, just I think people in general, but I think with women, you need someone to talk to because sometimes you're doing something that's very extreme and sometimes considered very masculine, and sometimes it can affect how you feel about yourself.
Hmm.
And I think it's the most important, like the situation what happened with the lady who passed away and other competitors who have either whatever reason they feel like that it was hopeless. But you know what? There's always a better day. I feel like this. I'd rather suffer above ground than go into below ground early. I mean, life is tough, and you know what? It's from that we learn and we grow. And
Absolutely.
and it's just don't let the demons and the go and the shadows come in your head and take over. Realize something: you're important. And if you feel like you don't have anybody, there's people out there who want to talk. You got to be open and willing to discuss it. Because I think, especially in my community, the Black community, we don't think mental health is
Right.
it's a white people thing. But the fact is, we're all humans, and
We're all
well,
humans.
minds, yeah, and our
Yeah.
minds are different. You know, I would say I've talked to a lady we talked about says get the mental health, get it important, especially when you're going to as a competitor, because sometimes there's times where this can be a lot, especially going to prep, because they go through the issue of body dysmorphia, the issues of post-show blues. I mean, you get shredded, then you go back to be soft and
Right.
and feminine, and you just miss that, and just work on yourself if you can.
Right.
I wouldn't worry so much about the people who have comments because the fact is, like this, they hate so much, so we care so little.
Exactly. And that's how you have to look at it. And I just want to say, before we wrap up, that, if anybody out there that's listening to this is, struggling, please feel free to reach out, direct message me, on my Instagram. I mean, even though I'm here in Washington State, I can help you find a provider in your area, whether that's a therapist or a psychiatrist, psychiatric nurse practitioner, PA, because you don't deserve to suffer alone, and or in silence. So you're worth it. You're 100% worth it.
Yeah, you used to joke like when you have some people crazy says you're going to Dorothy Dix room 306. Dorothy, that's been closed for years, folks. So if you know anything about North Carolina, yeah. So, folks, we're not gonna hold the lovely Lisa too much longer. We appreciate your time. We say best of luck to her going
Yeah,
to Pittsburgh. I mean, this could be a great show to get your pro card, but there's always Sid City around the corner,
I know. I know. Oh man. Last time I went, I spent too much money.
You're playing the like flip on the ones. Come on, hit red. Damn.
I, I like
Stick out.
blackjack.
I never gambling for me is like walking out my door. That's gambling for me.
Yeah.
So we're gonna we shot to my man KL the Wanderer. He just came in to end the scene of the crime. He says good evening to you, brother. Shout out to him. He also does content. We're gonna do a live on Monday. My Must Talk Monday. He's gonna be there. I hope so. And also got some other stuff coming up. So we're not gonna hold it. So you have anybody you want to shout out to?
Yeah. I will make it real quick. So I wanted to start with, my husband, Frank, Francis, if he's in trouble. My daughters, Madeline, Addison, and Annalise. They're just amazing kiddos. I love them with all my heart. My trainer, my coach, Russ Taylor. He's absolutely amazing. He puts up with me. He's like a brother to me. My posing coach, Nick Morrell, just amazing guy. He's put up with me for a bit now. Also all the people at Spanaway Fitness and Tacoma Barbell. I have such amazing friends there that continue to, drive me and push me and root for me. of course, my boss, Michelle and Brett at Sound Choice, they've been so supportive in this journey, and letting me go to Pittsburgh for a week and taking care of my patients for me while I'm gone. And then, also to you, George, for having me on your podcast. To share my story, to talk a little bit about bodybuilding, what motivates me, and then, to also be here to be a sounding board, to fellow competitors.
Well, as you know, when anybody tells me thank you, I'm gonna quote from my favorite movie, Batman Begins, at the end when Jim Gordon says to Batman, "I never got a chance to say thank you," and Batman turns around and says, "You never have to." Again, this gives me a purpose.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the opportunity when I get to talk to them. I would love someday to have Andrea on here.
Yeah.
Andrea.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I could talk to someone like you, and we're Scorpio twins.
Birthday buddy.
We are special.
Exactly.
But you know what? I enjoy it when I get to hear your ladies' story and share people out there, educate, inform people about what it is to be a woman in the sport. It's not as easy as everybody think it is, and there's a lot to grow up in development, and especially understanding in this. Like again, I do appreciate the opportunity. Oh no, he's seeping out. He has to come out. He has to, and he want to tell you something too, Lisa. I want to tell you something. You are beautiful.
Thank
you. What about my scars, Lisa? You think that's part of my psychology, my empathy of my scars? I think my mind. Again, I gotta apologize. I'm seeing a specialist about you, and we're trying to merge our personalities a little bit.
That's okay. We love Joker.
Yeah, I love him. That version. I remember watching when Jack Nicholson was pretty good, but Heath Ledger just ran with it. He just ran with it. I mean, I think that's my favorite version. I want to appreciate my guests coming through. Shout out my man Execution23 came through. My brother, also my other brother KL the Wonder, my man Lawrence, just Kevin for coming through, who watched this and follow our social media. If you want to reach out, especially if you're someone who's dealing with some mental issues, and I know she's in another side of the world, but hey, you know what? We're talking right now with this through our StreamYard. If you want to reach out to Lisa, and if you are someone who's going through, especially if you're a competitor, it never hurts to reach out to help. Don't be afraid to get some help for your mental, your mind. You're thinking about this. If your mind's not willing, the body's not going to go with it. It affects everything, controls everything.
Absolutely.
So, again, we'd like to thank the lovely Miss Koykar for coming through. Wish you best of luck. I'm root for you.
Thank you.
For all of my ladies who come on here and be a guest, I mean, it's tough. So, just do what you can do. And, again, it's always, but, this is the thing about bodybuilding. It's a sport where, what, some people, it's about timing. And sometimes you never know. You just maybe just at the right point in your life where, boom, you get it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%.
All right. So, folks, if you want to follow Lisa, her links in the description of this live stream. If you're so interested in supporting her, reach out in genuine interest, guys. Don't be a weirdo. She has a husband. He's in the military. I don't want to hear some stuff about somebody getting the house bombed because he's sitting some weird getting strung up. Saying, what's that? It was Frank. Like, oh, Frank. Like, Frank Castle.
In trouble.
Frank Castle. Be the Punisher.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming in there with the white shirt saying, "Who messed with my wife?" But folks, let's wish her best of luck in a month. And thank you for coming through, and I appreciate your time.
No, thank you, George. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. So, folks, enjoy this upcoming weekend. Check out the Toronto Super Show. Support these men and women sport of bodybuilding. Reach out in genuine interest. Don't be that weird guy. Anyway, this is man with George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out. Good night. Good luck. God bless. And see you next time.